Thanks very much. Last but not least, hopefully, and I know I'm keeping you from lunch, so I'll spend the next... firstly, thank you to Hong Leong Investment Bank and Bursa Malaysia for having me to represent Axiata. I can see both esteemed shareholders, regulators, customers in the room, which is great. So I'm going to be speaking about digitisation and digital transformation of Axiata Group and our operating business across the portfolio. As you would know, Axiata Group, we're listed on Bursa Malaysia. We operate telecom operators in 6 countries. We also operate digital services businesses. We own Boost, that you would know, the e-wallet in Malaysia. We own ADA, a digital agency, and also we own Appigate, an API platform business. And we own e.co, which is a TowerCo business, which is in the infrastructure part of our portfolio. So I'm going to explain, I guess, why and how we are innovating in our business model, which is how we make money, and in our operating model, which is how we organise ourselves to execute. So we all know that the telecom industry, despite the great picture Gerard showed of the industry in Malaysia, which is doing well, globally we've had a tough 5 years as an industry. And it's been no different for us in any of our portfolio companies, whether it be Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Indonesia. And it's been difficult because we continue to have, organic growth slowing off, specifically in the consumer business, and we keep having significant data usage increase while we have to invest in the network, and it's putting pressure on our bottom line. Globally, growth in the telecom industry, and this is globally, has gone to what was effectively zero profit growth and zero revenue growth, in the 2018 financial year. And there's been a significant workforce reduction, not just due to digitisation and automation, but generally due to margin pressure and competitive pressures. But it's not all bad. I think from our perspective, for the last 4 years, 5 years, we have talked about our strategy for becoming a next generation digital champion. We realised 5 or so years ago, probably even a bit more, just before I joined the group, that we needed to transform the business and become a digital business and a digital operator. Because we're very much in the digital era, the data era, where we could see we were about to be disintermediated in many parts of our business. So our strategy that we talk publicly about quite a bit is we restructured our portfolio first into 3 distinct parts of our business: the telecom operator business or the digital operator business, the digital services businesses, and the infrastructure business. Because I'll explain in a minute how that enables us from a business model perspective to diversify our revenues, to continue growing, and also to create greater resilience to shocks in any part of our business. And digitisation and analytics is at the core of our business. We also believe, the only other point I'll make here is that we need to be number 1 or number 2 in our markets. If you look in the digital industry, it's the number 1 and 2 operators or providers or hyperscalers that survive and thrive. It's going to be no different in telecoms in the future. This looks complicated, but it's not, and I'll explain what it means. It simply means that we used to have a one-dimensional business model, which is that green line pointing up. We would make money when customers put their hand in their pocket and pay a bill. And that was the only way we used to make money. And in the digital era, technology, analytics, data gives us the opportunity to make money in many other ways. And we realised that we had to move our business model, which is how we make money, from being one-dimensional, asking you to put your hand in your pocket and pay us more money, because that's not going to happen, to making money through other means. And those other means are digital advertising and data monetisation, as well as making money through platforms, which we call intermediation. When you buy something or someone tries to sell you something, we provide a platform to enable that transaction to happen, the discovery of the transaction, and we can make some money out of that. So all this really shows is that we have grown a portfolio of businesses now that beyond just the traditional telecom business that makes money when you put your hand in your pocket as a customer, we also make money through data monetisation, advertising, and also through intermediation on platform business. Enables us to find growth, enables us to be more resilient to shocks. Data analytics, I hope there's a laser here. Yep, there is. So data analytics is at the core of this. So I'll talk then a bit about how we're changing the operating model to leverage data and analytics and digitising our business to enable this to happen. We have focused, I'm not going to go down to specific products and services because I'm trying to keep it at the group level and a portfolio level. We have also restructured the way we approach in our operating companies, how we approach the market, and all of our operating companies shifted to focusing on these 4 key segments: consumer, home, which we differentiate from consumer because smart home, particularly IoT solution, smart home is a potential growth area for us, we believe. Enterprise, and Maxis, Paul talked about it from Maxis as well around enterprise, and we had TM1 as well talk about enterprise, and Internet of Things as well. And Internet of Things we keep separate a little bit because IoT is very much an enabler of gaining data. And also when Ensha Gazmati talked about B2B to X, which is a great way to explain it, we can use IoT as a probe to help our customers get data out of their business to then digitally transform the way they operate and the way they make money as well. And an example of that is, if you're an air conditioning company, you sell an air conditioner to whether it's a home or a shopping mall, you make a one-shot sale effectively. You sell the air conditioner and you hope that one day they call you and says it breaks down or it needs maintenance. And what we're doing with IoT is putting simple IoT probes into, for example, air conditioning condenser units or whatever it may be, or within malls or in homes, such that we enable now that air conditioning manufacturer not just to sell an air conditioner, but the air conditioner and the IoT probes tell them in advance when they're going to break down, before they break down, because the machine knows when it's going to break down based on various parameters. You can use AI to understand. And they can then sell a subscription maintenance business that prevents downtime. Because when you're a shopping mall or even at home, the last thing you have a big family dinner and that afternoon your air conditioner breaks down. You'd rather the week before your air conditioner told the company it's about to break down. That's a simple example of B2B to X. So in our operating model, which is how we organise ourselves to execute, we consider digitisation in 5 different layers, and we've addressed all of these, and I won't go through too much detail of how we did it in each, but it's around digitising our consumer journey and our products and services, so you can buy and use services digitally. It's about external interfaces. So, for example, all our dealers now are on dealer apps, so they don't have to have paper forms or emails going back and forth. They can register people automatically through an app. Internal processes, how we digitise and reduce paperwork, reduce friction, reduce silos in the business. Infrastructure and platforms. Telcos are notorious for having multiple vendors, multiple old platforms, some old systems, even some old, very old type AS400s or whatever running in the background. And it's very difficult to build new products and services on top of those. So actually what we have done, and I'll talk a bit about in a minute, is we created a digital layer, what we call a middleware or an interface, where we now don't have to touch all those old systems. There's purely a published set of simple commands or APIs on top of that the business units can go and build apps on top of that. And it's reduced cost of business IT by up to 90%, not having to touch and do change requests with vendors below that MIF layer or that interface layer. And organisation and culture. The hardest part of any transformation is the organisation and culture. And we have done huge things around hackathons and learning and development programs, refreshing the team, hiring data scientists. We've hired over 250 data scientists in the past 2 years into our group. And I'll tell you a bit about how we've organised that. What we've also done, which is important, is in the area of digitisation and also analytics, we have brought third parties in since 2017 to benchmark us and measure us, create a baseline, and then twice a year measure all of our operating companies on how they're progressing towards digitisation, both in the front office and back office. And that's been important because if you measure yourself, it's maybe not as independent as when you get someone else. And then we get benchmarks against others in the industry as well. So actually our opcos have, from where they were in 2017, where I think we may have been a little bit behind, we felt, we are now at the top quadrant of where we need to be relative to our peers in terms of digitisation. And in terms of analytics, what we did is, analytics is critical and using the data. Every business here has data, and most of us don't use the majority of that data. and we could create new businesses off that data. So what we did is we created a centralized, what we call analytics, Axiata Analytics Center, which is a virtually centralized function. It all reports up into one organization, but people are spread around all of Southeast Asia and South Asia, but they're one group. They're data engineers and data scientists, and some of consulting background, who go in and help our operating companies identify how to use analytics to generate new revenue, create products, modify products, improve CapEx planning, so capital allocation gets improved through analytics, and various other means. Implementing AI, we build our own chatbots, so now you can interact with Telco or whoever on Facebook Messenger or other platforms digitally with artificial intelligence chatbots. And I said already we hired several data scientists across the group. And again, we brought in a third party, which is called the TM Forum, which is the Telemanagement Forum, a global industry forum of the telecom and IT industry, to measure us in the last couple of years on analytics maturity and provide independent benchmarking versus ourselves within the group, as well as with other operators, telcos around the world. And that has shown effectively a doubling of our analytics capability. The second thing we did is we created, and we felt we had to take control of our own journey in terms of building the business apps in our business, because it needs to be very close to the people running the business. So we built, again, like the Analytics Center, what we call a DevOps, Agile Development Operations virtualized entity called Axiata Digital Lab, or ADL. That's, again, a group function, but people are spread across the region. We have people in KL, we have people in Colombo and Sri Lanka, we have them spread around. And that is a team of now about 450 software developers, engineers, data engineers, scientists, who go around and build all the business apps for all of our operating companies. We don't go outside. We build our own apps now. We maintain our own apps, and we do it in an agile way every day. And that's only possible because we put in place this layer that I mentioned. I put in place this layer of middleware that allows us to not have to touch all the complicated systems anymore. We're a platform business now that has standard APIs, which are just interfaces, programming interfaces. So you build one app in one opco, it's the same app in another opco. You want to call a function to get a customer ID, it's exactly the same piece of code that you use for that app or this app. And it used to not be possible that way. What we also did, which is a great achievement, as a result of building this middleware layer, Huawei actually now has taken ours and incorporated it into their product. So every convergent billing system that Huawei sells now has Axiata's middleware product in it. So we are providing software to the global telecom industry now, actually. And that's what I mean by turning digitisation into a business opportunity. This is just a spread of what our DevOps team is capable of doing in every programming language, every platform. We are a software developer. We only do our own work. We don't sell services externally, at least not yet. Maybe one day we will. It could be a new business. But right now it's really to serve digitisation and appification of our business. Everything we do internally now is an app. Everything. We're on the cloud. We've moved to Microsoft Azure as a cloud platform for all of our productivity and enterprise applications. Everything is an app. Everything's dual-factor authentication on a mobile. We're going passwordless. And it's only possible taking control of your own business functions. So in summary, we've been in a tough industry, but we've responded to that proactively by disrupting ourselves. And we've used digitisation and analytics with external benchmarking, I think being very critical of ourselves and allowing others to critique us to understand what our baseline was and where we had to move forward. We've adjusted our business model to find growth using data and other parts of our business capability to generate new revenues and reduce shocks in our where we're at risk in certain parts of our business. And the portfolio, as I said, addresses all the segments that we believe are the growth areas for us. Home, smart home, enterprise, IoT, and obviously focusing on consumer with digital products and services. Digitisation, as I said, we're on the journey. No one's finished digitisation. We are certainly nowhere near the end of digitisation. It will be a part of life moving forward. And the analytics centre is critical. Every business needs to focus on analytics. I can't tell you how much. As soon as you start focusing on it, you just realise how much data you have that you have never been using and leveraging. It's like you've got oil under your backyard and you've just never used it. It's absolutely like that. And taking control of your own IT is, we feel, for our business, may not be right for everyone, we felt it was important to get it close to the business, and that's what we've done. So thank you. That's all I have. Thanks very much.